Let's take a look at how we can use the 3 different lasso tools in order to make a selection. You can find the lasso tools over here in the tools panel. Go ahead and click on the lasso tool. Notice we have the lasso tool, polygonal lasso, and magnetic lasso. We'll be working with all 3 of these on 3 different photographs. Let's begin with the lasso tool. Now, when you select the lasso tool, what you can do is click, and then you can click and drag a freeform shape. In this case, I want to select this guy. I photographed jumping off of the ladder here. So go ahead and click and drag around that area, go all the way back to the starting point, and then let go. So as you can see, this tool allows us to create a really nice freeform shape. It's helpful when you just want to cut something out quickly. And let's say that we want to copy this to a new layer so that we have 2 versions of this. The way to do that is to use a shortcut. It's Command-J on a Mac or Control-J on Windows. Think J for jump. So here we have the area we selected cut out on its own layer. We could then move this around, or we could include this in another project or create an effect or really whatever it is. So the lasso tool, as you can see, is helpful when you need to select something in sort of a free-form way. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is when you're working with the lasso tool, what will happen is when you click and start to drag around, if ever you let go of your mouse button, it will create a straight line between wherever you are and your endpoint. So you just want to be conscious of that. And this will be especially noticeable perhaps if you're over here and you let go, all of a sudden we now have this straight line. So typically what you'll want to do, like I did the first time, was you'll make your selection around the object that you're interested in selecting, get really close to your starting point, then let go. And that way that little straight line isn't that noticeable. It's just a small little thing right there. Now, the other thing that I want to highlight in regards to working with any of our selection tools is this idea of feather, because sometimes what will happen is you'll make a selection like this and realize, oh, shoot, I forgot to add any feather to the selection. Yet rather than having to rebuild the selection from scratch, here's what you can do with any of these selection tools we've covered so far. Just right-click or control-click inside of the selected area, then choose feather. And here we can add a feather value, click OK, and then I'll press Command-J on a Mac or Control-J on Windows just to illustrate. But now if I zoom in, what you'll see is that we have these really soft and diffused edges because we added that feather value. So just know that in case you ever forget to add feather before you make your selection, you can always do so after by right-clicking or control-clicking. Got to have a selection tool active, right-clicking or control-clicking inside of the active selection. All right, well, that's the lasso tool. Let's move on to another image and another tool. Next, we're going to talk about how we can use what's called the polygonal lasso tool. The way that this one works is you click to set a point, reposition your cursor, and you can see it's giving you this little guide. Then click again, reposition, click, reposition, click, reposition, click, and you can see how I can create a many-sided shape. And you can get really freeform with this. You just go back to the starting point and then click, and that activates the selection. All right, well here, we'll go to select and choose deselect. And let's say that what we want to do is change the color on the building, but not the sky. So we'll go ahead and click on one area, reposition the cursor, click again, reposition over here perhaps, and click again. Make my way down over here, and I'm going to click. You can even click outside of the window, as you can see that I'm doing here. And then we'll go ahead and click all the way back up. You got to go back up to your starting point and then click. Now that we have this active selection right there of the building, we could do a lot of things. We could sharpen. We could copy this to a new layer. We could change color. So to keep things simple, let's just create an adjustment layer. We'll click on Hue Saturation. Now, when I modify my hue or my color, it's only going to affect the area that was selected. So let me increase the saturation so you can see how that's just affecting that part of the image. All right, well, that's how the polygonal lasso tool works. We have one more tool to talk about. It's called the magnetic lasso. Let's go to another image, talk about that one. This is a photograph of a little sculpture that I happened upon in Seattle. It's actually not that little. You can sit on it, so it's about, a couple feet high. But if I wanted to select this so that I could remove it from this image, the polygonal lasso tool obviously isn't going to work. The regular lasso could work, but it would be really tough. So there is an option which will work even better, which is called magnetic lasso. The way that the magnetic lasso tool works is you click to set a point, and then you carefully reposition your cursor. You're just moving your mouse along the edge of the object that you're trying to select. And what it will do is it will try to figure out the edge or the area of contrast. And Photoshop does a pretty good job at this. If it ever is giving you a little bit of a tough time, you can click to kind of help it out. Like if there's an area like this ear over here, it looks a little bit like the background. I can move slowly and I can click multiple times. You can probably see my little clicking there. Then I'll move up to here, and then I'll move a little bit more quickly. And again, I'm just going to move all the way around the edge of the object that I'm interested in selecting. And it's magnetically snapping this to the edge that it's finding for me. Go back to the starting point and click. Well, now I have an active selection of this area. And why don't we copy this to a new layer, just to reiterate the shortcut we learned earlier. Do you remember that one? When we want to copy a selected area to a new layer, we press Command-J on a Mac. Control-J on Windows, think J for jump the contents from one layer to another. Now we have this object on a layer by itself so that we could then use it in a unique way. All right, well, that wraps up our look at how we can work with 3 of our different lasso tools: the regular lasso, polygonal lasso, and magnetic lasso.